Greetings.
What's happening, sir?
How are you, big man? You well?
Not bad yourself?
I can't complain, Can't complain. Blessed.
Last time I see you was at the awards thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, best of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good chat. You had less grey in your beard at that point there, man. I thought.
Yeah, man. See,
Like
without the grooming,
but
things go wavy.
It does, mate. It does. You good though? As a family, as a.
Yeah, they're all right, man. They're all right. Everyone's cool.
Good. All right. Well, look, we're gonna jump straight in because I'm conscious we've only got an hour. So, welcome everybody that's jumped in, and I see everyone jumping in right on time today. That's really good. We're talking with Rio Ferdinand today as part of the ARCO series of interviews with sportsmen and women from all over the world. And we're really talking with them to see if we can kind of get some pearls of wisdom, some nuggets, so that it can kind of influence the generation of students that attend ARCO Academy, which is in South London, an alternative provision school, right on the doorstep of where you grew up, Rio. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I'd normally start off by telling everybody a little bit about who I'm interviewing today. There's no point doing that. Everybody knows you. So really, I wanna find out about how Rio Ferdinand, as a young boy, growing up in Peckham, how he turned his dreams into a reality.
Yeah, man. I listen. You got a dream at the beginning. Nothing starts without a dream. I think that if you want to achieve something in life, whether it is in sports or any other field, then you have to have that one little dream, a little target somewhere you can dream at, and then make a pathway and work out your way towards getting to that place. I think, and everyone always says you have to dream, but then the bit in between is as important. You have to work out how you're going to get to that dream, then set the things in place, the training, the dedication, the application, the sacrifices, set it all out, what you need to do along the way to achieve them goals, and then get there, and then work your way towards that. So it is difficult, and again, when you're young, you haven't got the clarity, you haven't got the picture isn't as clear when you're young. So you have to find it from within yourself and listen to people that you find inspiring or people that you respect. May not be in the field that you're in, or they might not be doing the job that you want to do, but they've got life experience to let you know, listen, this is the way that you can do it. I don't know the detail of your industry that you're in. Like, for instance, a footballer, it might not be a football man that's telling me what I need to do, but set that pathway up, man, because without the pathway and the understanding of how to navigate your way through, you ain't going to get to no target. And aligned to that, you need hard work. Nothing in life comes without having to put tough hours in, where sometimes you even sit there and think, right, I'm not even moving forward. But that hard work will be rewarded at some point, trust me.
Who inspired you at that age as a youngster who was beginning to define, what that vision inside looked like, but, wanted to bring it about and help it manifest in reality? Who inspired you to kind of keep that clarity?
A number of people, different people at different stages of my life, like the youth workers at my youth club, my adventure playground on my estate. Like, if I didn't become a footballer, I wanted to be them, because they had a mortgage, they had a house, they had a car, they clothed themselves and their children. They seemed to me on the face of it, they had a decent lifestyle. Went on a holiday or two a year, and I wanted to be them, and I'd be able to. So I'd have been doing something good for the community, but also I'd have been earning a living out of it. That's the best way to be. That's what I thought when I was growing up. So seeing them people that come into work every day, put themselves in danger sometimes through one of the kids are doing madness, and they weren't really, their background weren't from my environments either. They come in there to work in there to make a difference, and I respected that. And I respected how they were dealing with different people from different backgrounds. I like the way that they done that. But then obviously my mum and dad were hardworking people. My mum was a real community person, in and about the community, and that's probably where I get that from a lot. But my dad would go and work in North London, then come back to South London to pick me up and my friends sometimes, to take me and my friends to train in West London. Then drop my friend back in Brixton and come back to Peckham. That's hard work.
Commitment.
So, Yeah, and commitment and sacrifice and desire. And so for me to think I'm going to go football or miss training and mess about when my dad's doing all them type of mileage was crazy to me. So I had to respect that and make sure I put the effort in, because if I didn't put the effort in and my dad's doing all that driving, he wouldn't take me again. So again, it's applying yourself right and understanding like every moment of training is something to be used to get to that target. Like, don't waste time. There ain't no time to be wasted. That's how I always think. And anyone who knows me as a youngster, as a kid growing up, I was kicking ball, but there was always a purpose behind what I was doing, because I wanted to be a footballer so bad.
When was it clear in your
What?
mind's eye what you wanted to do?
From about 13, 14 years old, when I started getting like, I became like one of the best players in my school, and I got into the district team, in my Sunday team, and then clubs were asking me to go there. Then when I was going to the clubs, I was still standing out as a good player, and I was thinking, yeah, I've got a chance. I want to be a footballer. And there was one time I was about 15. I went to play in an under 18s game for West Ham against Chelsea in the cup final, and they had loads of injuries and players went away on tour with an older team. So that me and Frank Lampard got in this team. We should never have been in it, really, because we were too young. Oh, we went and played, and I'm playing against like all 17, 18-year-olds, and I've just come out of school to go there at Stamford Bridge, and I played really well. I scored, we won, and there was a moment there just after that game. I thought there's some players on the Chelsea team who played first team for Chelsea, and some players in my team had played first team, and I felt better than them.
Right.
That's when I thought to myself, then, this is me. I don't know what level I'm going to make it, but I will make it now. I know I will. If I keep working hard, I'll make it definitely. But then it's down to my ability and my work ethic, what level I'm going to get to.
You touch on two things that are important. Obviously, being in a place that's going to extend you, challenge your dream, and challenge your idea of wanting to pursue a career in it. And that was where you were at 13. And you also then got the realization, and that helped you to clarify where you were going next. For the people joining, and this is the biggest audience that the Arco Academy series of interviews has had so far. This has been brought about to inspire the youths that would have been locked down during the previous quarantine period and not been allowed out. We brought about this series to help them find motivation. So we're speaking to sports stars around the world. Today we've got Rio Ferdinand on. And Rio, as you would have been briefed beforehand, we're talking about motivation and how the sportsmen and women from around the world, including yourself, find it. So how did you find yours? And not only when it was clear, the dark days when it wasn't so clear.
I was just desperate to be a footballer. You know what, as well, I found something I was passionate about. I was passionate about football. There's nothing better than earning a living through something that you're passionate about, whether that's writing, whether that's singing, dancing, being a lawyer, solving problems, except whatever it is. Mine was football. And to think that I'm going to get up every day and bounce to work rather than drag my feet to work because I'm so happy to go in every day. That's that doesn't matter what you earn. You can't put a price on being happy at work. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I was just lucky, fortunate, the industry that I chose was a good one for me. And it enabled me to do things and travel to places I could only ever dreamed of. But I think when I was young, I don't know, you just think to yourself, like, in the down moments, if I'm being brutally honest, yeah, it was the passion and love of wanting to be a footballer, but I wanted to get my family out of where I was born. I wanted to give them a better surroundings, a better environment. Now, that's not saying that's anything untoward where I was brought up, because if anyone asks me about Peckham or where I'm brought up, it brings a smile to my face because there's so many great times that I remember. And it was beautiful times where it was carefree, but you still aspire for more as a kid, as a person, whatever time in your life, you're aspiring to step up, to go to new different levels. And that's what I didn't want to see my mum struggle, or have to go around her friend's house and ask her if she can borrow money, or it's Friday and my dad hasn't come back with the money, so can you borrow us this? Can you borrow us that? Like, I didn't want to see my mum or my dad having to do that. So that was another thing for me that it pushed me. it creates a fire in you, man, because you think, I'm not letting no one else have that. I need to get there. I need that. If the opportunity, there's one opportunity through that door, you can't get through that before me.
It's funny because you talk about those difficult moments. I guess what you're talking about is, as well as dealing with the element, is finding out about yourself, learning about yourself.
Yeah, sorry, just quickly on that point as well, is don't ever, no one can ever sit there and think that people that have got to great positions in life, whether you, like we're talking now, football in my life, there ain't no one who's got to that point that you look on the TV and go, right, my man's playing football for Man United or Barcelona or whoever it is. They've had downtimes at some point in their career, whether when they're 10, 11, 12, 13, or whether when they're 17, 18, or when they're 25, mid-30s, whatever it is. There would have been a moment or two in their life where they've gone, then there's a crossroad. You've got to make a decision. Am I built for this? Can I keep going? I've been knocked down off that bike. Can I get back up and keep going? And that's when you find out about yourself. You look in the mirror and go, yeah, this is for me. I'm ready to fight. I'm willing to roll my sleeves up and ready to move on with this because this is what I'm made for. Or there's other people maybe that go, you know what, I've got to this part of the journey. I can't keep doing this. I ain't got the mental capacity to do it. I'm not strong enough mentally to do it. I can't motivate myself every day because I can't see the fruits. I can't see the gold coins right now. So I'm not going to keep going. Whereas that's the person who needs to reevaluate and go, you know what, I can see it in it might take me a bit longer than other people, but I'm going to get there by hook or by crook. And that comes down to motivating yourself on a daily basis. Like, listen, this coronavirus now, this is separating people that can actually self-motivate and people that can't. Like, I speak to a lot of players that are currently playing now, and I guarantee you there's going to be players that go back and the manager's going to go, wow, he's unfit. Look at him. He can't move. He's lost his fitness in the space of this time we've been locked down. That's because that player ain't been one of the ones that said, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to remain at tip-top condition. So when I go back, I'm hitting the ground running. And there's going to be a big difference between a lot of these players. And then the manager will find out then who's in this for the real long haul, who's dedicated, who can dedicate themselves in the times when the lights are off, when the stadium lights are down, who is in their house thinking, I'm going to come back and make sure I work and proper put myself on the line. There's a big difference. A lot of it's mental, man.
How much of it though?
A lot, man. Like, listen, we're all built different ways physically, yeah, but we're also built different ways mentally. And one without the other don't work. Trust me. Like, I've seen like big players who have got great talent, but mentally ain't stable, ain't strong enough to deal with certain situations and fall by the wayside.
Ever a moment along the way, especially in the early days when you're building the picture, ever a moment where you thought it might not happen, Because it sounds like from what you're describing, once that momentum got going, you were on it.
I was 14, I think. I was at West Ham. Come from South London, gone to West Ham. Then I was like playing centre midfield then, and then I was playing all the games. Then they signed the other boy, Lee Goodwin, his name was, centre midfielder. Good player. I was sub for about 4 months. And my head was down, man. I was thinking, I'm never going to play. They're going to release me. They don't want me here. Look, I'm always sub. He's always getting the ball. They're always talking to him and his parents like, this is a liberty. I'm going should I even stay here? And I kind of moped around for a couple of months. And I was just lucky that I had someone who said to me, listen, are you going to allow that? Are you going to allow this boy to take your shirt? Is he better than you? Ask yourself that question. Is he better? And then he broke the boy's game down to me a little bit and said to me, and you're going to take that? And then that's where it was my pride come out my chest. No, I can't accept that. So I'm going to go and demand the ball, shouting louder, etc. And he would never have known this. I've had this talk or this little switch that's just rejigged me and rebooted me. No one would know that, but it happened. And again, by the end of that year, I was playing and stuff. The boy got signed and stuff, but I was going at a quicker rate that way than he was. So you need, listen, a lot of this as well is luck, man. You need sometimes to be in the right place at the right time to be spotted, but also the right place, the right time for someone to say something that resonates with you and you go, actually, raw. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because when, like I said at the beginning, when you're young, yeah, things ain't as clear
Of course.
like they are for you or me now with
Mm.
experience. So sometimes it needs spelling out to young people. Like, do you realize what you have at the tip of your fingers, right? If you apply yourself
Mm.
properly, like all this, like hanging about after school when you got training. I never done that. I hanged
Mm.
about until my bus come or my train or my tube, and I was gone.
Mm.
No ifs or buts. Whereas I have other friends, no man, I'm chatting to Santa, linking this girl, or I'm chatting to these were getting too much jokes. I'll come next week. Next week never comes.
It's interesting point that you leave it on there because you're talking about distractions, right? And for those who have just joined us who haven't been here from the beginning, this is a series of interviews brought about by the Arco Academy, which is an alternative provision school in South London, stone's throw away from where Rio grew up. And it was brought about to provide inspiration and motivation for the students that attend that academy, which has a sports emphasis. Rio, distractions. How did you drown out the background noise? You're talking about being focused, essentially. But how can you maybe advise some of these youngsters to drown out that background noise to stay focused?
Listen, that's one of the biggest things for people from backgrounds like I grew up in is distractions, because we've all got lots of friends and we're all hanging about on the street sometimes and or on the estates or whatever. So there's always a lot of you. So, but my mum used to always say to me, Rio, stop going out with all these boys, or stop doing this, stop hanging about too much, come in earlier, or if you're real friends, if you make it and you go and you detach yourself from them, your real friends will stay there and they'll be there when times are good, and they'll understand why you had to come away. Now, when we was younger, and even now probably, you'd be called a sellout, or look at you, you're looking down on where you're from, etc. But it's not that.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to achieve something, sometimes you've got to make sacrifices, and some friends along the way have to be sacrificed. Otherwise, they become a detriment to what you're trying to achieve.
Hard part for teenagers, though, right?
Yeah, and it's hard, man. And it took me a long time. So, like, I never really done it. I was always with my friends. I can't. These are my boys. I can't do that, mum. What are you talking about? And then my time that I done it, which is crazy, and I was lucky that I didn't get in trouble before then. Too bad, like they were like in any madness that was going on. But my time of detachment, and where I thought it was more about me and my friends that I had to move away, was when I left West Ham, because I had offers from Chelsea to stay in London. But I said, listen, I need to leave London. Like, I need to leave my friends, because I was getting invited to all these things all the time. And it's easy to say yes. And yes, oh, you lot, 3, 4, 5 of us, let's go, man. We're going to go. Let's go to this party here, opening of this club, opening of this bar, this restaurant, going all the time. And it was hurting my football.
You did 5 years. You did 5 years there, right?
Where? West Ham.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, I left there at 21. Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah. So that couldn't have been
there probably about 7 or 8 years, all in all.
That couldn't have been easy, because that's home.
Yeah, but my desire was to be the best footballer I could be. So my thought process was leave London to go to Leeds. Yes, they're playing Champions League football. They're probably not as fashionable a team as Chelsea yet, but I'll go Leeds and I'll go on to better, because I'll be able to focus on football without all my friends there. My friends were a distraction for me, a big distraction. So, and listen, my best friends from back then are the people that I'm best friends with now. Like, I got married in the summer and they were all there. Like, and they're the same guys, because they understood
The journey.
and I had to do that at times. And we drifted all the way through my career. So at points, there were certain friends who I drifted away from, and it was for no other reason that I was just mad focused on being a footballer. And then my career finished, and to be fair, with the help of my wife, I'm now connected back to all my best mates properly. But there's no love loss, because everyone knew, and we all got our own separate paths.
For those who are just tuned in, this is I don't know, it's about the 5th interview in the series for Arco Academy in South London. Arco Academy is an alternative provision school for the type of students that, you know, mainstream schools might have given up on, but Arco hasn't. And we're interviewing a series of sportsmen and women to find out what motivates them, in order to nick some pearls of wisdom, some gems from these sports stars that maybe the students can use moving forward in their own lives. I've seen a load of questions come in. I'm going to get to those. I really want to get through all the questions from people watching. So keep sending those into the question box. Rio, I noticed that when you were young, you had schools that you could have turned your hand to other than football. You could have done a multitude of things. Talk about some of those and the decision not to pursue them. Obviously, you were a better footballer than all of those other things. But
yeah, I think that the overriding factor was that I was a better footballer than any other thing. But listen, I didn't say no to many things as a kid, like when like gymnastics, athletics, karate, drama, ballet. I just said yeah. I just wanted to. I was very like inquisitive as an inquisitive kid, and I weren't really one that was really too concerned what anyone would say. Like for someone on the estate to go to like the best ballet school in England, that was mad. But I weren't
that's
really
mad now, Rio. Come on, let's have it right.
yeah,
That'd be
like,
mad now for a lot of
but
people
I didn't
now.
care. I was really. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go off and see new people. There might be a few girls there as well. That's how I thought. So I would just try it, and that was but it benefited me. I knew deep down as well it might benefit my football.
Yeah,
because
so
it's. I tell any man to go ballet and try and go in there and don't come out there limping because it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard, man. But and it give me the right balance, the strength in my legs, etc. So, but yeah, I think it's good to try different things, man. You don't just get pigeon. And that's what's one thing that's been in my life since I was a kid. Never, ever, ever. You can't pigeonhole me to be one thing and what you want me to be. That's it.
wait, career high, career low.
Career high would be winning the Champions League. I think like I got to quarterfinals and semi-finals before that and just felt like, wow, this is so hard to win, man, because there's so many great players, great teams around. But to captain Man United to win in the Champions League is just like I never thought about it in my career really, because I never sat and dwelled on it or just look. You don't in your career you don't sit and go, oh, look what I've won, man, I'm doing all right. I just never thought that. I was always like, what's next? What's next? But seeing retirement and people talk to you and you get in, I allow myself to be drawn into conversations about it now, whereas before I wouldn't. If someone started chatting to me about Moscow, Man United winning like the league, or so, I'll just move the conversation on quick because I didn't want to talk about it. Whereas now I'm happy to talk about it. I love it. And you appreciate like what you've done then. So that's the Moscow 2008 was the top.
Low
in my career, probably the finals, all the finals, man, all the finals that I've lost. I've lost about, I think I lost three or four finals, 2 Champions League, 2 FA Cup finals, or maybe 3 FA Cup finals. We lost, like, and yeah, man, them feelings, like, and bearing in mind, most of them years we'd have won like the league, so it almost tarnished my summer, even though we won the league.
Soured that sweet taste there.
Yeah, like I was sitting on the beach. We just won the league, lost the Champions League final, and I'm sitting there looking like we've been relegated. So it's mad.
It's the appreciation for trying to win everything, though. I get that. Let's take some questions because I know we're not going to get through all of them at the end. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions of my own after, but I haven't vetted these, so just bear with me. We're going to throw them up. If there's any ringers.
How responsible was your role
Towards your younger brother
to be a footballer? Good question. I can't take credit, but like I would always take him downstairs in the grass, and I'd always have him and his friend or his mates play, and I'd just go and goal and just say to them, go and play, and I'd never let him win.
Why not?
Right.
Was that you? Was that tough love that you need? Yeah.
Yeah. He'd run up to go upstairs and tell my mum and everything. Like we have not let him. Like I would never let him win, but I just tried to just instill that, like, get thick skin and that mentality that you've got to keep pushing, etc. So yeah, we played a lot as kids in the house, bust so many plant pots or doors and things like that. And that's the same thing I do with my kids now. I take them outside as much as I can and just drill them.
There's a lot of ringers in these questions there, so I'm trying to vet them as you're answering that one. Do ask some sensible questions. Thanks for that from Laddie. Let's get to this one.
I wanted to know 2 of Rio's best tips to be the best defence player. Best tips, I would say, stay on your feet, definitely. The minute you go to ground, you're out of the race, you're out, you're gone, you're dead.
Mm.
There's no recovery. Stay on your feet as much as you can. And I would say one thing, there's a lot of things, but one thing that's probably not spoken about much is communicate.
Right.
I think one of my best attributes when I played was the communication. Obviously, with the fans and the noise there, you don't really hear it. But if you was going to turn the volume down and you heard shouting on the pitch, I'd probably be the loudest most of the time.
Mm.
And communicating is helping other people who when you're helping them, they're helping you. So communicating is a massive piece of the jigsaw. That's probably, I
Big
could have
part of the
mentioned a
puzzle.
lot of other things, but it's not spoken about as much.
No, I agree with you. To be honest with you, I was a big communicator on the pitch. This one slipped in there. Do you wanna? What would you
tell younger people striving to become a professional athlete?
I guess you've touched on some of the points already, but if there's anything you can add to that for.
Yeah. Obviously, confidence is a big thing. Remain confident in your ability. Work on your weaknesses. Expect bumps in the road on the way. Don't let any times where things aren't going well surprise you. Expect them to come and prepare yourself to deal with them.
Good advice. That's actually nicked a bit of the question I was going to ask you a little bit later, which is centering on 3 traits that a dreamer who's to become an achiever needs. Maybe we need to get onto that question, but if you want to do this one first.
How can you motivate yourself and stay focused without supportive parents?
See, I'm going to assume that the person that's asked this question doesn't have supportive parents. So let's go from that point of view.
I think I liken that to parts of the media when I was playing. If the people weren't supportive of me or had negative vibes towards me, I would use that as fuel. That's fuel to turn people, turn them into wrongs and to make sure that you throw that back at them when you make it or when you achieve the dream that you set out on. Their things, don't let them things derail you. I would always say it to somebody, especially someone young, use that as something that you sit there and motivates you on a daily basis. When you're in, I was banned one time and I felt wronged because I was wronged in that situation.
Right.
And that whole time I was training to come back, I was fueled by the people that were writing comments, that were writing articles about me, that thought I was this, thought I was that said I shouldn't come back, etc. That was fuel. So when I came back, there was I came back with venom. Came back to prove a lot of people I'm still going to be the man. Watch, and I'm going to go and be better now. And that's how you got to be. You can't let people's negativity or lack of support be something that derails you at all.
You're talking about turning the negative into a positive. When you talk about it becoming your fuel, that's something that you practice and rehearse, and it becomes second nature. So when do you think that was the first point that you decided to do that, or you think you took that negative and thought, or was it that 14-year-old story where you were on the bench? Was that probably the first point, or had you started doing that before? Now you think about it.
Yeah, that was probably the first point, because that was the first time in my life that I've been a sub.
Right.
But also teachers at school, Rio, do your work. Who said you're going to be a footballer? You're not guaranteed to be a footballer. You might not even be a footballer. And I sit there and think, okay, sir, watch, or miss, watch. And I'll come back to the school when I'm a player, and I'll walk through the gates, and you'll be saying, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" Watch. That's how I used to think. And so I used to think I want to use every little thing as motivation, because sometimes it's not just, I love the game, which is going to give you that motivation. Sometimes you need other things that are going to be the trigger that gives you something else, that little extra lift on the day where you're feeling a little bit down or a little bit negative.
For those watching, you're in tune to the Dream It, Achieve It series of interviews with sportsmen and women from around the world. We've got Rio Ferdinand here with us today. We're talking about all things mentality, motivation, and aspiration. Rio, you would have had to, at some point, dream about your exit from the game. Then you would have had to set about achieving it. So your transition into punditry and all of the things that we see you doing outside of the game now, How was that for you? And when did you begin to set that in your mind's eye? When did that become a real thing that you thought, right, I'm going to go and achieve?
Yeah, I started thinking about it. My management company, New Era, who look after me, um, I said to them, like, they said to me, what do you want to do when you finish football? And I was like 27. And I was like, I like media. So then I started up a online magazine, Five. I liked fashion. I liked music. And coaching, management was something I was interested in at the time. And so I kind of said to them, listen, I need to have avenues. Once I retire, I want avenues to be able to go out into, 3 or 4 or 5 strands that I could go into that are ready and there waiting for when I retire. So I'm not sitting there waiting to go into anything. I want to prepare it for when I retire. And I made a conscious decision then around 27, 28, that to start building certain things for that. And I think a lot of people's problem today, and a lot of the younger players, a lot of younger generation, is they start to try and build things too early. Like, you've dreamed all your life and worked all your life to become a footballer. You just start getting in the spotlight and make it. And now you're starting to think about 101 other things that you want to try and build when you're not even a master of what you're doing yet, what you strive to set out to be. So get all your house in order first, become like one of the best or as good as you can be. And most importantly, understand how you get your best performance out of yourself on a daily basis, training and match days, before you start thinking and looking about other things. Yes, have other interests, but if your other interests are going to become public knowledge and become out there in the public and you're going to shine a spotlight on it, please remember that will be used as a stick to beat you with. Things start not going well. So be prepared for that. So until you're ready psychologically, physically, etc., to know what to do on a daily basis, that all them other outside noises can't harm you anymore, I'd wait until you're old enough to really be able to do that. And that comes with experience. So that's why I waited till a bit later in life, 27, 28, before I prepared for when I retired. So when I came to retirement, I had like a digital magazine that was doing really well, clothing brand, a restaurant. I'd done loads and loads of content stuff through social media, so I was very aware of broadcasting and that, and that's why BBC and BT, I've got great relationships and deals with them, because they saw the work that I'd got in beforehand, before I retired, and they trusted that I was good enough to be on their platform. So that me being on BBC and BT isn't by chance; that was planned.
What do you enjoy most then now about life after football?
Freedom, because when you're playing football, you're governed by a club. You're governed by a manager and a club, and your life and your schedule very much is controlled by someone else. So, and you get 3-4 weeks holiday a year. So to have that freedom once I retired, although my schedule is kind of mad, and I've got obviously the games that I do and stuff, but once I finish training, I mean, when you finish training at football, you go home, you're still thinking about it, blah, blah, blah. When I come out of the studio, I'm done. Back to my family, or doing whatever I'm doing. So I get to see my family a lot more now than I did. But listen, I'm still involved in the game. I talk about football with my mates anyway, in all our WhatsApp groups, etc. But so doing it on TV is just like an extension of that.
I guess I'd want to know what matters most to Rio Ferdinand now, beyond family. Anybody in tune to your documentary knows how much that means to you. So what matters most to Rio now, beyond family, and what's your mind focused on now? I guess I want to know what mountain you're climbing and what conquest is next.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's all, my goal in life, other than outside of family and stuff, is to really. It's great that I've done what I've done at football, but I don't want the next phase of my life to be just remembered as a footballer. I want to create something or be a part of something that people go, oh, Rio, he does this. He used to be a footballer, but he does this now. That's what I want it to be. I want something to take over from that, the enormity of football, what it meant to me, and what my name kind of, when you mention my name, it's not just about football. There's something else there that actually people go, oh, that's what I'm known for, other than just football. And at the moment, I love tech. So I'm an investor, but also I've got a few.
And anything you want to share with us? Anything you want to share with us, Rio?
Yeah, we've got a project coming out soon. A fitness, wellness, mental health, well-being site that's coming out soon called Amplify, which is, I think, going to be really, really, really exciting. So watch this space.
Okay, okay. Can you expand on it, or is it still in its infancy?
Yeah, it's being developed now. It will launch at some point when the coronavirus is kind of
Right, yeah, subsided.
hopefully finished. So, but yeah, it's a whole 360, all singing, all dancing,
Okay.
like platform that like you can manage your whole health and well-being on. So it's good, man.
Is that a passion area for you? What, the whole wellness
Yeah,
space?
so
I
if
see you
anyone who
training. I
follows
see
me,
you training. I see the gun still looking.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyone who follows me knows that like my lifestyle revolves a lot around working out, because I always feel if I work out, I feel so much fresher for the day,
Right.
mentally and physically. So working out, I know it's a big difference when I don't work out. Even if it's a 20-minute session, I feel much better. So, and a part of that as well is for my kids to see. Like you can tell your kids you should be fit, you should work out, you should be active. But like we all know, like kids don't always want to be told, but they will see something, and then all of a sudden, I hope that when my kids are 18, 19, in their 20s, they remember that being active and having a healthy lifestyle was part of just the normal for them. You know what I mean? So I look back at my dad. I used to hear my dad doing press ups in the living room when I was a kid, or doing workouts. So being fit and running and stuff like that was never like, well, what's that? It was always like, that's just normal for me because my dad does it.
You're inspired by what you see, as they say.
Yeah.
Let's take a few more questions from those watching, as one should slide in on that subject.
With being a great dad role model when you're so busy. Yeah, my wife asks me that as well sometimes. Yeah, no, listen, it's difficult, but again, it's the same. I go back to about the healthy lifestyle for the kids to see it. Like I could quite easily just sit at home and not do nothing, yeah, but that wouldn't be beneficial to my kids. They need to see me having to get up sometimes when it's late, early in the morning, or coming home late. And Dad, where you been? I've been to work. What are you talking about? Your dad, can you stay home? No, I'm going to work. They need to understand that work is a part of everyone's daily life, and it's a routine that you have to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If my kids see me just sitting at home and getting up when I want, take them to school late, etc., that's going to be their lifestyle. That's going to be their mind state when they're older. I don't want that.
I guess this answers this question coming up here then, really.
Would you ever consider pursuing a managerial career in the future? I don't know. Watch this space. I think when I was playing, I was definitely going and doing my badges to be a manager.
Yeah.
The way things pan out sometimes you can't control, so that had an effect on me wanting to be a manager. I need to kind of be I can't. Being a football manager is probably one of the busiest, draining jobs around in terms of you can never switch off from it, and I need to be switched on with my family a lot more than I probably needed to before.
Got a mix of people asking questions. There's one that keeps coming up. I'll save it till last. Looks like there's a lot of aspiring footballers on as well. So, what do you think
Do
of
you think
this?
it's easier to come through a smaller club's academy than a big club? It depends who's the manager. I think Frank Lampard is a great example. Chelsea was a place where I would have said my kids could never go there. I'd never send my kid Chelsea. But since Frank Lampard's gone there, there's kids playing in the first team. He gave 8 players their debuts last year. So that tells you now it's a place where there's a pathway to the first team. You can see it. But you've got to be the cream of the crop, the top player to come through at somewhere like Chelsea, because they're not only getting the best players from England, they're going abroad and getting the best players as well. So is the pathway easier at a lower league club? You'd have to say yes, but only if you're going to apply yourself and be the best you can be at that club will you get a chance. So it all depends on the level you're at. Do you know what I mean? In the end of the day.
There's another one coming in, Rio.
How do footballers stay fresh during hectic fixtures, post-match recovery, avoiding muscle fatigue? Yeah, that's down to your routine, your recovery, and your preparation. I think at the beginning of my career, sports science wasn't really a thing. It wasn't even something that was spoken about in football. But now it's such a big thing because the game's so quick, but the games are coming thick and fast. And the big part of it is sleep. People don't appreciate how important sleep is. and resting. And like, my mum used to say to me, Rio, you got to come home at a normal time. Why are you coming home so late? Or why are you staying up so late? But yeah, I'm in my house. I'm okay, mum. I'm not out in a nightclub or nothing. Yeah, but you're not sleeping. So sleep is a massive part of your preparation and recovery. If you can get at least like 7, 8 hours is a good amount. But I used to always sleep in the afternoons religiously, hour, 2 hours every afternoon after training, to make sure I'm recovering. And after training and after matches, ice baths, especially when you've got a lot of games. And yeah, and drinking and eating the right type of food at the right times, fueling your body the right way. Drink a lot of water.
Nutrition. Key. There's another one flying in there.
Did you learn anything from your days at Burgess Park in Peckham? Yeah, loads. It's funny, I walked through there the other day.
Nostalgic trip?
Yeah, because it's like I learned a lot there, man. Like me and my friend Gavin used to go there and just kick the ball to each other and set up drills and that. This would be like after a game on a Sunday game, with our boots and that, and like doing that. And people must have thought, these two boys, what are they doing, man? And then there was in Burgess Park. I don't know if I've spoke about this a few times. There was like a big AstroTurf there, but there was loads of men used to play. There was like about 13, 14 at the time, 12, 13, 14, and we'd go over there and just stand on the side and kick the ball and hope that they'd say you could join in. All guys like from Ghana, Nigeria, all playing from African countries. Like all they turn up with cars and everything driving, and then would stand there and say, "Oh, you lot come. There's an extra place for like 2. You can both join in." And they used to kick people, boy. You kick you down, smash you all over the place, but you couldn't like show you any weakness but it made you grow up and made you pass the ball quicker because you're gonna get tackled and stuff or get kicked. So they taught us a lot. I'd love to see the group of guys that used to play there. Actually, I've not seen them since.
They're probably all laying claim to you being as good as you are somewhere in this world.
They remember me.
Another one flying in, Rio.
Hardest match you've played? Stay safe. Hardest match. There's a couple, man. When I played at Leeds in the semi-final against Valencia, that's one of the best teams I played against.
Okay.
They had like Mendieta, Baraka, Ayala, Sanchez, and some.
Who was the manager? Was that Rafa?
No, Rafa wasn't the manager then. I think it was Hector Cooper.
Right.
I think so anyway. But yeah, they had a really good team then. They beat us 3-0. Then after that, I played against Barcelona. The team at Wembley, when they beat us, they was like just devastating. They embarrassed us that day. They were unbelievable, and they had Messi, so that was just the icing on the cake for them.
Too much, yeah.
Then after that, I think it was we played against Athletic Bilbao for Man United, and manager Bielsa, who's manager of Leeds now, was their manager. They were one of the hardest teams I played against because physically they ran like I've never seen a team run before. Man.
Right.
So,
well, even more than that Liverpool team when Klopp got here, because they started running, didn't they?
Yeah, but the Klopp team, I don't think like they weren't what they are now when I was playing. So
right.
Like, so I didn't experience that firsthand the way that the Liverpool team play. But that Athletic Bilbao team was mad.
Another one flying in.
What's the biggest thing you have taken from playing under Sir Alex Ferguson, be it in life or football?
Good question.
Good question.
Good question.
Just like to have that desire and keep that desire, like dedication, sacrificing. Like in terms of sacrifice, his family, I'm sure, will tell you like the football club and the players there were as much, if not more, his family than his own family at times. And to be the best, that's how you got to be. It's got to be like that. Like, I don't know no player that's been at the top but sustained it for many years, whose family wouldn't sit there and go, we probably lost some great time with that person because of their obsession with the game. That's just a fact. That's the way it is. And all all the top players that are there for not the ones that come and are flyby and then there for a year or two and then they're gone. Them ones, none of that, because they're obviously not obsessed like the ones that are there for many years, like being dedicated on a daily basis, applying yourself all the time. I think they're traits that definitely rubbed off from him.
On the topic of obsession, I'm gonna ask you. I'm not trying to coerce you into your answer or anything like this, but I've asked everybody that's been on this series of interviews, and for those who have just joined us who haven't been here from the beginning, this is a series of interviews brought to you by the Arco Academy, an alternative provision school in South London with a sports emphasis, and we're talking to sportsmen and women from all over the world. Rio's joined us to drop some gems for the students that attend that academy on how to stay motivated, giving insight into his journey and how he turned his dream into an achievement. I've asked everybody this question, Rio, and it's you know, I'd imagine obsession would be one of them. But if there were 3 traits that turns a dreamer into an achiever, what would they be?
Obsession is the first word I would say. I always say you have to be obsessed. Have to be obsessed. You have to. That obsession feeds into everything. Like, it's having that ability to when people are all going that way over there, all going and all walking that way, all moving that way, because that's where the vibe is. That's where the lights are shining. But in my own head, my light's going to shine over there, but a little bit later, but it's going to shine over there. So I'm going to go that way because I'm obsessed with me and what I'm doing. Like, you have to be, everything that you do has got to be like, there's got to be an intensity to it and an obsession that this is the be all and end all for me. Like, I'm not going to be swayed by other things or other people because my obsession will override that. Having a work ethic, I think far too often, especially in the current society, the younger generation, because of social media and the influence of social media, I think materialistic things are really on the top of people's agenda. And they feel a lot of things like that come and they don't see the journey towards getting to them points of being able to have this and have that. They just see, you've got it, I want that, but forget the journey. And that journey involves a huge amount of work ethic. And that being able to dedicate yourself to something and work hard religiously all the time is how you get your rewards in life. So definitely obsession, a work ethic, and dedication. But also sacrifice. I think there's so many words you could use, but dedication, definitely. I'd say dedication and work ethic probably go together a little bit. So sacrifice. You've got to be willing to sacrifice friendship sometimes. You've got to be willing to sacrifice being at certain events. Like, I couldn't go to so many family functions or family christenings or parties or whatever at different times of the years over the years through my career because I was more interested. I needed to be ready and focused. I needed to prepare for games or training or whatever. So I wouldn't go. And my mum would always have to be batting off questions. Well, where's Rio? Where's Rio? Why ain't he here? Well, I didn't care because I knew I'll come back to that in a few years' time when I finish doing what I've had to do as a footballer to get where I want to get to. But me keep coming to all these things or keep going elsewhere and doing everything else and putting that before my obsession ain't going to get me to the top of the mountain.
Now, some great traits there. I hope all the Arco students are in tune and take note. Gary Lineker told a funny story actually about Michael Jordan. I'm sure you're in tune. Yeah, you're in tune to The Last Dance, that documentary series running on Netflix. It's fantastic if you're not. Get in tune. And he told a story about meeting Michael Jordan on the golf range. I won't go into that. I want to know who's the most inspirational person for you in sport and why.
I know it's a bit like now that seems like you're jumping on a bandwagon. I don't know. Maradona was my man as a kid. I loved Diego Maradona. But he was someone who just excited me because of what he could do on the pitch. And made you dream a little bit. Like, whoa, seeing what he's doing is just different. But Jordan is the best sportsman ever. Like, I was always intrigued I was like interested in like how this man could go in and dominate a sport, a team sport like this. Like you could say Muhammad Ali or Tiger Woods or all these guys, but they're not. They're individual sports. They're difficult in their own way, but for a man to come in and dominate a team sport, where you have to rely on other people as well, like you can be so dominant and take over, and then change the landscape the way he did, from like endorsements and commercially, like he done too much.
It's
and
mental. It's
like,
mental.
Yeah, and like he was like, and there was a lot in that documentary where they're talking about how he doesn't talk about social issues and he doesn't talk about like racism and all this. He didn't want to get involved, etc. But he was still the culture. How's that? That's based on his sporting achievements and what he done in the sport as well. Like it just override everything.
We've got 9 minutes left, Rio, so I'm going to get some questions in from those who are flying in. There's a few of them.
Ronaldo would be one of the world's best. Immediately, yes.
Well, what was it about him that stood out?
He was different. He was cocky. He was a showman. He was unapologetic with it. He was just like a really, really like crazy footballer, young player, but someone with like, you could see the ridiculous ability, but also the work ethic to go alongside it. Which
is what you touched on earlier, really. He was obsessed. He had a work ethic and was dedicated. So I guess he had all of the traits that you've already outlined. Let's throw on those.
In abundance.
Go on. Who was the toughest player you played against?
Messi would have to be up there with him. Who else would be? Raul, Dennis Bergkamp, Kevin Davis joins that list.
Raul and Bergkamp didn't really have much pace like that, so that's interesting that you say that, because you kind of had pace. So, what was it about them? Was it because the speed of thought?
Yeah, the speed of thought. But like because I played against them when I was quite young, so they was like, if I had to have a race with someone or as a physical battle like that, I was always confident, no matter who it was. But when it was somebody who would like play in like a 10 position and drop off and don't engage with me physically or with speed wise, they were then asking me questions mentally. Do I come close to them to mark them and come out of my position and leave a big hole where I come from for someone else to run into and exploit? Or do I stay in my position and let them have the ball and then wait? Like, as a defender, they're big questions for a young defender to answer in a split second. So they were always difficult.
This one has come in about 50,000 times, mate.
I hope so. I hope that. Do you think Man United will sign Jadon Sancho? I hope they do, man. What do
you like about the young man?
Again, it's like he's got that imagination, that carefree spirit, almost like that playground footballer vibe that I love.
Yeah.
And he brings that to the big stage.
Is he a product, Rio, of a generation that has been allowed to be free? Freer than maybe your generation were to express themselves?
Yeah, I'd say so. But you've also got to have that in you as well. Like he's got that. He had that from a young age. So, but yeah, you can see that there's players that are coming through now that have got that, like, that are bringing the street football to the big lights.
We are asking questions from the audience. This is the next one that comes in.
What would you have done if you didn't play football? I'd have probably worked in the community where I grew up for the council.
For the council, that's very specific.
Yeah, because that's the youth workers in my youth club and my adventure playground on my estate. They work for the youth club, but it's actually working for the council, isn't it? So that's what it would have probably been. And like a lot of my friends ended up doing that as well.
What, working for the council?
Working in the community for the council, yeah.
Right. So, and that's, well, back then it was a job for life. So a lot of them, I bet, would have been there for a number of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're all in the system, helping with the younger kids. Like what it was like, they were becoming the youth leaders and youth workers, bringing up the next generation of kids. So, and it's mad because when my friends have parties or we go parties, you can see the generations there. There's like 2 or 3 generations that are there. My brother's the younger generation to me, but then there's the older generation than me. Crazy.
Let's get into this one.
Who was the best player you played with? Cristiano Ronaldo. I think it's obvious to everyone to see why. But also another one would be Paul Scholes.
Wow, ooh, that's unusual. Of all the people you played with, why
Yeah,
Scholesy?
crazy player. Like if I had my last bit of money and I had to bet it on a player hitting a target from anywhere on the pitch, he would be the man that I back. Like
Well,
radar foot, his foot was crazy, mad passer.
so he definitely retired from England too early, in your opinion.
Yeah, definitely. But then that was because he wasn't being played in the right position.
Yeah, we all know the politics with that. We've got 4 minutes left. I'm going to get a few more questions in from the audience. Rio, is there any particular program you're watching now or podcast you're listening to you want to share with us in terms of what you think people should be listening to?
Oh, that's hit me.
What's got your attention right now? I want to know the guilty pleasures as well, mate.
Money Heist.
Money Heist, yeah?
Yeah, this is really good. Oh, you know what? My missus caught yesterday. Love and
Go
Hip Hop.
Was an accident?
Gosh, no, listen, we're hooked. I'm going back to season 1 now. Cardi B and all them in there. Serious, it's unbelievable.
Do you know what? I might just join you now because I haven't really gone in on that. So.
Bro, it's too funny. It's so raw. The podcasts, you know what I like? It's on my phone. I can't even remember. And I would love to give them a shout out as well.
Oh, that's a shame.
Stoppage Time. I think that's the name of them. They're a football podcast. Yeah. Some young guys doing good stuff. There's loads of stuff, man. I can't remember the name of them.
All right, no worries. Let's get into this last question from the audience. And the founder of the Arco Academy, Lisa Miller, has said that there's a job there for you anytime. So I'm duty bound to let you know. How do footballers keep mentally and physically well during quarantine? It's been a frustrating time for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, that question I think should be for people in general. Like it's about keeping busy, finding a structure on a daily basis. I think I had a few days a couple of weeks ago where I was just lazing about the house and being lethargic, and it's not well. It's not good. You start sitting there getting a little bit depressed, wondering when can I get my life back to normal. It's boring, blah blah blah. You just get a bit moany and just downbeat. It's not. So I've found, and we found as a family, yeah, we get up at school time because we've got kids, or get up like you would normally go for work, do a workout maybe if you can in your living room or wherever it is. Get the kids ready for school, doing their schoolwork on the computers and stuff, and then have some structure. There's certain cleaning things that need to be done that you and the kids can do throughout the day. Food, you got to cook. Like, it's hard, but you got to just try and go for walks. You've been for a walk most days. We go for a walk, or we go have to go shopping if you have to do that. Like, just make sure you keep doing stuff. And you know what? Communicate with people. Yeah, you've got this lovely thing called Zoom or FaceTime, whatever. Use it, man, and speak to people because it's uplifting once you get off a call with someone. Always.
Rio, listen, I want to take the opportunity to thank you as the clock counts down in my last minute for your participation in the Arco Academy series of interviews designed to inspire the youngsters at the Academy who would have been trying to find motivation at this period. You've been a pleasure to talk to, and just while I got you, bro, let me give you your flowers. We love you, bro, just for the way you've handled your career. We're the same age, innit? So I didn't make it as a footballer. My dream was then to be in the press box. I've done that, followed you for years. There was a match against Man United Chelsea. You walked down the mix zone and took time to speak to me, and I'll never forget it. You don't know what that meant to a man just coming up, and not too many players did it. So thank you for that. Cool, and respect from behalf of everybody watching. Sorry I couldn't get through all the questions, but thanks for joining in, and do join us on Tuesday for the next instalments. Rio, thank you.
Man, I appreciate it. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Will do. Bless.
Take care.